the Madman. Welcome to another card review. This time we've got 10 very interesting, peculiar, situational, build-around cards for you this time around. Alright, we're starting this review off with a surprise edition. This card was just revealed at the time that I'm doing this review. 4 mana, 3/6 Ironbark Golem. Taunt, can only attack if you have 3 or more armor. Slight positives over Sen'jin Shieldmaster is that it has 1 more health. Major downside is unlike the Sen'jin Shieldmaster, it can't attack unless you have 3 or more armor. If this card had more stats to justify the downside, possibly by being a 4 mana 4/6, I could understand it. But when Serenite Chaingang is available, I'm not entirely sure that a 4 mana 3/6 taunt with no restriction would even be played. So given that I'm not sure that would be played, this certainly won't be played. It's pretty bad. Ixlid, Fungal Lord. 5 mana, 2/4. You're gonna find a lot of very interesting stat lines, both in this expansion, but especially in these 10 cards. After you play a minion, summon a copy of it. This is clearly made in conjunction with the Druid legendary weapon of the Twig. And this is already something that's kind of questionable because I feel like the Twig is already a questionable card. But for those that want to dream big, you can have your 20 mana turn, your 10 mana, you break your Twig after you spend a bunch of mana. And then you have your 20 mana combos. There's this idea of Ixlid into Faceless Manipulatoring Ixlid, which gives you 3 Ixlids, and then you play Leroy, and that gives you a 24 charging damage, because your Leroy gets copied 4 times when there's 3 Ixlids on the board. So you play Ixlid, you play Evolved Kobold, 9 mana, you play Malygos, 18 mana, and that gives you 2 Evolved Kobolds and 2 Malygoses. Malygais? That gives you plus 14 spell damage, so use 2 Moonfires, 1 plus 14, plus 1 plus 14 is 30. There you go, you have your 1-turn kill combo. So yeah, I feel like Ixlid is a combo enabler type card. If Twig takes off, Ixlid might take off. Lesser Emerald Spellstone. It's the Hunter Spellstone, and it's actually pretty good value. So on 5 mana, you summon 2 3/3 wolves, which are beasts. 6/6 for 5 mana on 2 3/3s, that's not that great. 3 3/3s for 5, that's a 9/9 for 5, that's pretty good. And you upgrade it twice, you're getting a 12/12 for 5. It is split into 4 3/3s, which is possibly, everyone's crying out, oh, Duskbreaker's just gonna destroy it. But that's because Duskbreaker is just pretty good whatsoever in general, and you're not always gonna run into Duskbreaker. There's currently actually a secret Hunter deck that's brewing, which runs very few minions. This card feels like it would find its home there. Just a question of whether or not that deck will be good. Dragon's Fury. The Mage gets the 2 pieces it needed in order to complete the picture of Big Spell Mage, a new archetype of mage that Blizzard is pushing with this expansion. Dragon's Fury is a very key component since for 5 mana, you reveal a spell from your deck, deal damage equal to its cost to all minions. This is an incredible spell. In this deck, we can already imagine you're going to have these 5 cost spells, you're going to have 7 cost spells, you're going to have 6 cost spells. Basically Dragon's Fury, maybe Cabalist's Tome, Meteor, Flame Strike, Firelands Portal, stuff like that. And then for 5 mana, you're basically dealing 5, 6, or 7 damage to all minions. That's incredible. Usually, Control Mage runs Flame Strike to deal 4 damage to the enemy minions. Now for 5 mana, you can clear the board. And you can even run Ice Block still with this card, because the Arcanologist will often draw you your Ice Block already. Now the question is, do you really need 2 more AoE on top of your Flame Strikes and Meteors? Well, we'll see. Dragoncaller Alanna. This is another piece of this big spell mage. 9 mana, 3/3. Battle Cry. Summon a 5/5 dragon for each spell you cast this game that costs 5 or more. So it goes perfectly with Dragon's Fury. Value already if you just cast 3 spells that cost 5 or more. But even more value if you cast more and more. The highest potential value of this card is you summon 33 worth of stats, which is Alanna herself, as well as 6 5/5 fire dragons. They dodge a very common removal in the format of Dragonfire Potion by virtue of being fire dragons. There you have it, the big finisher of Big Spell Mage. Will you play this alongside Jaina? Probably, because Jaina is that good in a control mage anyways. Twilight's Call. 3 mana, priest spell, summon 1/1 copies of 2 friendly Death Rattle minions that died this game. Immediately coming into mind is that this expansion is kind of bringing back a bunch of the old quests, potentially. Awaken the Makers requires 7 Death Rattle minions be summoned. So Twilight's Call will account for 2 of those, and you've already played 1 Death Rattle beforehand, so that's 3 already. But the main problem is, does this Death Rattle Priest accomplish more than the other variants of Priest right now? Is it better than Big Priest? Is it better than Raza Priest? And also, is this type of value play better than the ultimate value deck right now? Well, there are 2 ultimate value. There's Big Druid and there's Jade Druid. Interesting idea. When you play n'Zoth, the 1/1 copies of the Death Rattle minions that died this game, you're actually going to get the full value with n'Zoth. We'll see whether or not that dream situation occurs and whether or not this can exceed the value of Jade Druid, and whether this can stand up to Raza Priest. In my head, though, I can kind of see this deck trying to gain value and then it being too slow, and it'll just die to the machine gun of Raza Priest by the time you actually pull this all together. Lesser Diamond Spellstone. 7 mana Priest spell, the Spellstone for the Priest. Resurrect 2 different friendly minions by casting 4 spells to upgrade this, and that is a lot of spells, but Big Priest runs a lot of spells. You can resurrect 3 different friendly minions and then 4 different friendly minions, making this kind of like a n'Zoth effect. It's a little bit unfortunate because you can end up resurrecting Bards, and you can end up resurrecting whichever card you Potion of Madness over, but maybe if you put this card into your Big Priest deck, maybe you won't run Potion of Madness, maybe you'll be more inclined to run Embrace plus Circle then. Big Priest might put this card into the deck, but the fact that you might get your Potion of Madness card, or your Bards, might be a loser for this one. Next up, one of my favorite cards of the set, as the Mayor of Valutan. Val'anyr, it's the Paladin legendary weapon. 6 mana, 4/2. Death Rattle, give a minion in your hand +4/+2. When it dies, re-equip this. So wow, this is actually incredible amounts of value. So True Silver Champion is already a 4 mana 4/2, and +4/+2, that could be considered worth 2 mana. If you bundle them together, you can see that Val'anyr is worth it. Now the +4/+2 is a little slow, which is why on 6 mana, if it didn't have the re-equip this would be too slow. But it does have re-equip this. Nice that you don't have to pay the 6 mana again, it just re-equips back into your hand. Now the question is, will you have enough health to be able to endure all of these attacks, or will they just go face? If you have a mid-range / control paladin, going face with the weapon generally isn't worth very much, so you want to use it to kill off minions. So that means you're gonna want to gain more health. Also, you want a lot of time with this weapon, since you actually need to get the minion in your hand to have +4/+2. You need to play it, it needs to die, and then you get your weapon back. Now, before you all think this is dreadfully too slow, I come from the era where Justicar Trueheart, a 6 mana 5/3 was played, which upgraded your hero power from summon 1/1 to summon 2 1/1s. And I made it to top legend, as in actually legend rank 1 with that deck. So I have a lot of respect for these cards that provide value over time. It's been a long time. Apparently I'm being told Justicar Trueheart is a 6/3 that's coming from a rank 1 legend. It's so long ago. The point is, if you get 4 attacks off with Val'anyr, the value gained by this card is absolutely incredible. And, that's just the start. You can keep going and keep going. Similar to how Justicar Trueheart's ability. You push the button once, it doesn't return the value on the amount you paid for Justicar. You push the button twice, it's still not. You push the button 3 times, you're starting to break even. Push the button 4 times, okay, now you're getting value each time you click the button past that. Val'anyr is much the same way. The first 2 times you use it, it's okay, it's about average value. But the more times you swing with it, the more value you accrue. I, for one, am looking forward to seeing whether or not we can accrue value over time. Realistically, in this meta, probably not. But I love the idea of the card. A clear value gain card for mid-range and control paladin. A few more notes, it does work with Doppelgangster or Serenite Chain Gang in the respect that you buff the card, and then, when you play Doppelgangster, you will get 3 6/4s. That's value. Or Serenite Chain Gang, you'll get 2 6/5s. They both get the death rattle of when they die, re-equip Val'anyr, which means if only one of them gets silenced, the other one can still re-equip you Val'anyr. So the big takeaway of Val'anyr is very powerful card if the game goes on long enough. So you'll want to build a deck towards that. Possibly one tilted more towards healing. And then we can truly dub it Val'anyr. Lesser Onyx, Spellstone, 5 mana Rogue Spellstone. Destroy 1 random enemy minion. So Deadly Shot for Rogue, Bad Assassinate for Rogue. Play 3 Death Rattle cards to upgrade. Once you upgrade it, it destroys up to 2 random enemy minions. Note the destroy up to, so you can play it on just 1 big minion. And then the final version, destroy up to 3 random enemy minions. Clearly meant for a different rogue deck, a Death Rattle rogue deck. I'm going to hold off on whether or not a Death Rattle rogue deck is viable until I see all the cards, but currently I'm not really seeing it. I feel like it won't really be better than the current tempo rogue. Possessed Lackey, a Warlock 5 mana 2/2 minion. Wow. So it does have a very powerful effect, and it is a very high mana cost for low stats, similar to a lot of the recruit cards we're seeing. It has Death Rattle, recruit a demon. Very specific recruit here. Clearly, when people look at these recruit cards, they're like, oh, why am I paying this much mana for so low stats? Well, it's because this card offers a huge way to cheat out a huge demon. It doesn't even have to be in your hand, you just get it from your deck. So basically, it replaces itself and accelerates you into the bigger demon that you're summoning, is the way to think of it. So when you use Possessed Lackey to get Voidlord, then basically you get a 4 mana discount on the Voidlord. I could see a deck potentially where you put in 2 Voidlords and maybe 1 Possessed Lackey because you don't want the second one. Because it would really suck if the Lackey died and you didn't have any targets. And then you put in Gul'dan, and then Gul'dan resurrects all of your demons. If you have both Voidlords die, you're already getting 8 demons. 2 Voidlords and 6 Voidwalkers. It's a very narrow recruit, so you can just put in Voidlords as your demons, and then you can put in other cards that are not demons for your other filler cards. So maybe has a chance in Control Warlock? Possibly not, though. I will say, though, that this card doesn't compare that unfavorably to Voidcaller, for those comparing it. 4 mana 3/4 versus 5 mana 2/2, but this one gets it from your deck, the other one takes it from your hand. This one basically saves you a card. And finally, we have 9 mana, 2/4, Dragonhatcher. At the end of your turn, recruit a dragon. So the stats are obviously laughable, and 9 mana, 2/4 might become a meme, but I'm going to paint you the picture of where Dragonhatcher can actually be useful. I've played a lot of Big Priest recently, so if you manage to cheat out the Dragonhatcher, this is kind of a big deal since the dragon you recruit is going to be full value. Yes, you could just Barnes out your Ysera, but that's a 1/1 Ysera. If you Barnes out Dragonhatcher, then Dragonhatcher will recruit your Ysera, and that's a 4/12 Ysera. Or maybe he recruits your Deathwing Dragonlord, and that's a 12/12. Maybe he recruits your Deathwing, that's a 12/12. So it seems like the key is to try to cheat out Dragonhatcher with a card like Barnes or Shadow Essence, and then the Dragonhatcher cheats out your other stuff at full value. Realistically, this might be a bit too cute, and a bit too difficult to pull off, and a bit too fortune luck based. Also, your Yasharaj might pull Dragonhatcher, which is kind of bad, but it has a really low attack, so your Meat Wagon could pull out a huge 9-drop. Just gotta buff the Meat Wagon by 2 attack, and then have all of your minions in your deck be not 2 attack. And there you have it! That's the 10 cards with this set. Some really, really interesting effects. Very niche effects. Clearly this expansion has made it clear that you must build your deck around these cards in order to make full use of their potential power. Good luck.